Wait, you guys.
You as in the royal you. I was referring to people on the internet who are leftists who decided to celebrate the murder. Again, you doesn't have to be the person I'm talking to.
You said you guys.
Can be, yeah, I'm talking to a crowd and I say you guys, and one person in the crowd says I wasn't that. We're talking semantics now. Please talk politics.
Okay, so you're saying that the majority of Democrats online.
No.
Okay, so then what? So when you say leftists celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder,
some of them celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. When you ask for a clarification,
some of them
specify.
Sure, some of them celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder.
Yes.
Okay, do you think those people should have been fired for what they did?
Do you think they should be fired for celebrating murder? Depends on what kind of job they're in.
Okay, who should be fired?
Well, I mean, if you're a teacher who celebrates murder, you probably shouldn't be employed by the government anymore to teach kids.
Is it not freedom of speech?
No. It is. It depends on what you mean by freedom of speech. If it's incitement to violence, it's
no. Just answer the question. Is it or not freedom of speech? That's a yes or no question.
It's not. Can't get a yes or no answer to that question. I'm sorry. No. Politics is not a yes.
Yes. No. It is a yes or no question. Either it's for freedom of speech or it's not for freedom of speech.
I am always for freedom of speech, but the specification of what's called the problem is that we're nuanced.
No.
Oh my God.
It's not that you're nuanced.
Got me.
It's
Caught
not
me.
you don't
Nuanced
no,
right
because
here.
you don't want to say the truth. You know that it was wrong that they got fired. You know that.
If you are actually not, if you're a teacher, you should not Democrats want to talk in general, Republicans want to talk in nuance. There may have been a specific example that was wrong. I want to give that to me, they can talk about that. I'm talking to teachers. Teachers should not be educating children if they support murder for political reasons.
Unfortunately for you, that is not the definition of freedom of speech. So it doesn't matter what you care about. You didn't like the fact that people said that about Charlie Kirk, and I didn't either. In fact, I was a big fan of Charlie Kirk in the sense of he was a political operative that was a good political operative. Doesn't mean I agree with him what he did. I did not like the fact that Charlie Kirk was murdered.
I'm glad you
It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter what you like or dislike. Freedom of speech is protecting freedom of speech that you hate. Okay, that's what it is. That's the United States of America.
Doesn't protect violence speech.
I can't fucking do it.
Hold on now. Which claim would you like to fact check?
The freedom of speech is protecting freedom of speech that you hate.
Okay.
I'm fact checking that because the First Amendment specifically references speech in reference to Congress shall not oblige. It's specifically in reference to how the government is involved in regulating other people's speech.
I can't
We'll let the fact checkers do their job. So fact checkers, let us know.
Yeah, we didn't get into violence speech. We didn't get into anything yet with Charlie Kirk.
So Z, you claim that freedom of speech is protecting speech that you hate. The fact checkers have come to a verdict, and it is true. The First Amendment of the Constitution specifically protects freedom of speech, including opposing views.
Voltaire. Oh, that's not even what it meant. No.
Oh, not nuclear. It's gonna go nuclear.
I disagree with what you say. I defend you. You have the right to say it.
Congress shall not oblige. Voltaire is government's involvement.
They were absolutely citing him, though.
Change sides, you're not gonna have to.
Yes, I am. That's why I hate teachers' comments.
All the conservatives have been fact-checked out of this round, so we're going to move on to the next prompt. The final checkmate prompt is, whose policies better protect constitutional rights? Liberals or conservatives? The current score is 7-3 with liberals in the lead. We are going to start with Micah, and your time starts now.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of different things that we could get into on where conservatives are better with constitutional rights. Something that's really important to me is abortion, and I think the unborn does have a constitutional right, properly interpreted, to a right to life. And currently, we do not protect that in the United States. And so that's a huge thing. For me, I think when you look at the Second Amendment, Republicans are much better on this issue. Voter ID laws, I could go on and on.
Look, voter ID law is not required in the Constitution. On the first part, states are allowed to regulate their elections. We're talking not federal imposition. For example, Donald Trump's attempt to use the U.S. Postal Service to try to stop states from regulating their own elections is a constitutional violation. But on the other point, Second Amendment, obviously we got to talk about the well-regulated militia, and with abortion rights, are you arguing that someone, because the U.S. currently has birthright citizenship, which is enshrined in the Constitution, the federal government cannot. Does someone become a citizen at the moment of conception? And should that be protected? So if someone is undocumented, for example, and they conceive in the United States, should they be prevented from being deported because they have a citizen in their blood?
I think the 14th Amendment specifies that persons are owed these rights, correct?
Oh, they got my dog.
Sounds correct to me.
Yeah. So I
I
would
just
say
like
that
my
the unborn are
dog.
persons.
Oh.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you
Taught me
are
how to
against
debate.
deporting
College
pregnant, undocumented
students.
women because they have a citizen in their belly. If they
Well,
seek
that,
on
that's, I think we go into what was the
no,
intention.
that's a yes or
You
no
taught me how
question.
to
If they are a citizen,
No.
if they deserve
Hold on,
protection
let
at the
me
moment of
finish.
conception,
Let me
then they would be a citizen at the moment of conception. Should they be deported, yes or no?
Okay, you can't just ask yes or no questions and then not let me answer. So
There are two outcomes, either deported or not deported. It's a yes or no question.
if you're not going to let me answer, then
I mean,
why are you
you
even
can
here?
give an answer, but I just don't want you to waffle
Yeah.
about it.
Alright, let him answer. Micah, answer please.
I could agree with you in the fact
My
that
favorite
oh
Charlie
yeah,
is Charlie
if I
Hugh,
agree with
or
that
Charlie Most
interpretation of the
Critical.
14th Amendment, then yeah, illegal immigrants that do have a child in their womb, yeah, that they would get citizenship. That's irrelevant to the question of whether the unborn are persons. Does that make sense?
Well,
Sure, but the question is about constitutional rights.
Right,
There's
and so
not
that's
a
what I'm
in
saying.
the
Wow.
Constitution. It does not like lay out that life begins at conception. Like
Oh
there's
my
no
fucking
No,
theological
God,
authority in the
I
Constitution.
see.
No, of course.
So we're talking about
of course
constitutional
not.
rights, and I'm talking about birthright citizenship, which is a constitutional right,
Well-
not when life begins.
Well, but when life begins is actually crucial to determine
Okay,
when
sure.
persons get rights.
Let's see what's out here.
Yeah. So the unborn are human beings. They are human persons from the moment of conception. There's no difference between adult me and embryo me that would justify killing me in the womb.
Well, justify is a moral claim. It's not one that we can prove or disprove. This is
Well,
you're
arguing
effectively
moral
making
things.
you're making a theological argument. It's not really. This
I
is
never
relevant to
mentioned
the
theology
Constitution.
once.
Yeah,
I mean, the
let's talk
science of
about
embryology is very clear.
Yeah, let's talk about the
So-
Constitution specifically, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about, for example, let's talk
The
about
unborn
ICE. Let's
are
talk about what's happening with
harmed.
ICE, right? So when we're talking about people who are having their due process rights stripped, in some places sent to a foreign prison in El Salvador with President Bukele, who is a dictator, overseeing CCOT, which is very specifically a prison where they claim that you will not leave alive. That is the claim of El Salvador's government. It is that Kilmar Grego Garcia there, violation of due process
I
rights.
love-
being a-
I love
Pause for a
how
moment. What is it?
But yeah, I gotta go ahead and fact check that, cause I don't even believe that. And I'll hurt El Salvadorians.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins.
Jay Collins is the Chuck Norris of Florida politics.
Alongside Governor DeSantis, we passed constitutional carry and protected parental rights. And our mission isn't finished. That's why I'm running to be your next governor.
Goddamn machine keeps getting this kink in it, bro. Looks like I need to buy a fucking wireless mass rotary.
If you want to improve the quality of your teeth and your life, come to Tampa Dental Implants. We'll do a free consultation.
What is the claim that you want fact checked?
That Bukele, the president of El Salvador, is an explicit dictator. Yep.
Alright.
I mean, I didn't say
Fact
explicit.
checkers,
You didn't say that.
do your
I just
job.
said dictator. I said dictator. I didn't say explicit. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Explicit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to back up that. So there's.
What happened?
What happened? What happened?
What's true?
That he's a dictator?
Okay,
Yeah, that's what
we're
she
fighting
said.
people that are killing criminals.
So the fact checker left because she wasn't allowed to give a true rating for that claim.
So fact checkers are supposed to stay silent and not make reactions and just do their job and
We're not supposed to be.
Are they gonna leave that out?
Why do you think that's good TV?
Well, I think
it's good TV.
that is good TV, and I think that's also more honest because a fact checker left on set. That's important. The audience wants to know the demise of the
I
fact.
agree. I think it should be in the cut.
Right.
Alright, Hunter, you claim the president of El Salvador is a dictator. The fact checkers have come to a verdict, and that is false. There's no legal classification of a dictator. He was elected, and El Salvador remains a democracy.
Boom!
That's not true.
Here, he was a dictator that you guys support, Maduro.
Congrats on the point
Maduro,
forward, dude.
Going back to the prompt of constitutional protections, even in the case of abortion, Supreme Court justices that were appointed by Republicans have not ruled that fetuses have constitutional
That's like
protection of
saying
life.
Kim
So
Jong-un
on
isn't a
net,
dictator.
both parties
He's from
have the same
the Democratic
constitutional view in
Republic
terms
of
the Supreme
North
Court
Korea.
justices that they've
And so-
actually appointed to the
Actually,
court.
they elect
But-
him every fucking year.
I know, but
literally
whether or
all
not
of the
which-
political
whose side
opposition is
actually better
fake.
protects the Constitution.
Well,
Literally, North
I'm just saying,
Korea,
on your view,
Kim
Republicans haven't,
Are we going to pretend that just because
haven't done
they call
anything to
themselves a
protect the
democracy,
so-called
he's the
constitutional
only
right
nigga on
for
the
fetuses?
ballot? And
Alright,
means that they
it's
voted for
not
their
any-
dear leader to be the dear
And they've,
leader? Come on. Half of the places that have a dictatorship are fucking pretending they
I would
have
like
a
to fact check his
goddamn...
claim that Republicans have not done anything to protect fetuses.
Your constitutional rights, and he said, but you're still.
The constitutional right of life of a fetus.
Which doesn't exist.
I'm gonna go ahead and say you guys are right. That you, I know you probably meant to say that, but I don't think.
No, she doesn't think they said that.
She doesn't think they said that.
I don't
Is
know.
it possible to rewind the tape?
Okay, Evan, you made the claim that Republicans have done nothing to protect the right of a fetus. The fact checkers have checked that, and the verdict is that is false. This claim is false. There is a well-documented body of evidence of Republican policymakers acting to legally protect fetuses in multiple states and at the federal effort. Evan, thank you. Return back to
Sorry about that.
God damn it, I hate
Someone tell you what the
circles.
right of a fetus is? I would love the fact checkers to explain what the right of a fetus is and how that's being
We need fact checkers for the fact checkers. The current score is 7-5, with liberals still in the lead. We're going to start with
We got
Mason,
liberals
and your
in
time
the lead.
starts
They
now.
fucking...
It's you again. Would you agree that Donald Trump has violated numerous court orders that specifically have tried to limit his executive power?
They literally...
Yeah, I think he has done a couple of
Great.
things.
Which president would you say has violated more judicial orders? Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
I'm not actually entirely sure
let's
on
be
that.
real, you heard
So,
all the whole
I mean, my
fucking episode.
inclination would be
All
Joe
the shit
Biden,
that
but
they're
I'm also
sitting here
aware
saying,
of
like, nigga, what? The
preferences in
fucking,
my algorithm and different things like that.
the black kids in wealthy households
orders.
are committing the equivalent crime
I
to
think
fucking the
with
black
the-
kids
specifically
literally
the-
in fucking
Could be wrong on
intersectional
this, and maybe I'll get
communities.
fact
Go for it,
checked.
Or
don't be
fucking
afraid.
white
I
kids
think
in
with
poor
college
neighborhoods.
in particular.
Like, what
entry
type of
college,
retarded ass
I think he
coon shit is
specifically
that?
went against it.
He violated a
Why
court
would you
order
ever even,
by
like, how,
trying to do
what
federal
makes
student
you
aid relief, and then
suppose that
the court
wealthy
said he
people
didn't.
need to commit
Just,
fucking crime?
It's a
You're
good
just
question. I'm not
literally
entirely sure on that.
fucking
But,
racist. You're
yeah,
literally
so
just
I'm,
a
I appreciate
fucking
that.
I
racist.
think, and
I'm
I
glad-
think we could get into a big
I'm
argument
sorry,
about whether
but
Trump or
literally-
Biden has done more.
Yeah,
I think-
I'm glad that you can
and-
see that Donald Trump
and
has
to be
violated
honest-
orders, because he has. There's been
Well,
4,400
And to be honest,
instances.
I
I
don't
mean, you
really
literally
consider
are one
Trump
of
to be a
those.
huge conservative, right? And so with
Whoa.
well, I mean, I think that's just factually true.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm not like a huge, like,
You guys
I
want to
voted,
check?
I voted, they want to fact check me? No,
So you guys don't like Donald Trump?
I bet you
no,
got shit.
so
Look at
here's, I think there's a difference. So
China?
when we're talking about voting, right, I don't think voting is necessarily like
In
getting a
endorsement
ballot.
of somebody's character.
Right, it's just, I think you're better than the opposing.
I'm so
Right.
sick of these.
The opposition.
So
ass.
here's the interesting thing about this debate, and
Sure.
you and I are both being very careful. So I think we're going to have a
I
longer
have to
conversation.
unsheath
But I
it.
think that you've conceded that Donald Trump has violated constitutional orders.
I'm
you
just
can't think of a
working
single
fake
one
skin.
besides student
Go
aid relief
fuck
for Joe
yourself.
Biden. Yet you still say that the Democratic Party violates the Constitution more than the Republicans. And I think that this is indicative of like the way that most people craft their worldview. Is you come to conclusions first, and then you post hoc try to justify it by looking for different examples.
No, I mean that's one very specific area. It's
Yeah, but we're
largely
talking about the
hold on.
Constitution.
We're largely talking about constitutional rights. And one thing, one reason why I brought up abortion, because let's just grant my argument just for a second that the
God damn
unborn
it.
are human beings. That would be a gross violation of rights. Would you agree with that? If I'm correct.
So nothing that Donald Trump violates can be comparable to Democrats because of abortion.
Absolutely, yes. The 14th Amendment should apply to unborn human beings, right? And so, if I'm correct, that is the
Let's grant that.
greatest
Abortion. What's next?
We can go. Well, you're conceding abortion.
Sure, I concede abortion.
well, great. I mean, I think the claim is won just based off of abortion alone. But yeah, I mean, I think you can look at gun rights.
Okay, which gun rights have been violated?
I mean, I think you can look at different, like,
let's do specifics
different
too.
policies.
So,
yeah,
keep in mind, this is his number 2 priority is gun rights, and he's struggling.
Well,
with
it's
coming up
no,
with a
it's
single example.
It's not my number 2 priority.
Then what's your number 2 priority?
Ew.
As far as constitutional rights, well, it'd probably be free speech. Yeah.
Okay. I really think that the biggest concern here with the Trump administration is just a real disregard for judicial review. I mean, J.D. Vance verbatim said, let the courts try to enforce it if they disagree with these activist judges.
Sure.
So, you guys want to back from that?
No,
we can't.
That's true. That's
Yeah, so I think that really is damaging when it comes to the reputation of a particular political party and their concern for the Constitution. Different branches of government should be able to check the constitutionality of another branch of government.
So yeah, the courts should for sure.
Should I worry about that dirty round eye?
The administration. Correct. That's basic constitutionality.
So when Trump is violating 4,400 court orders when it comes to his ICE asylum deportations, would you say that that's like
y'all niggas started to make me think y'all some peckle
lack of due process? So
y'all
a
niggas
lot of
act like
ICE
some
agents that
fucking
are
crackers.
going into homes without a search warrant, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, regardless of whether or not someone is a citizen.
Y'all
That's
niggas
what the
moved to the
Constitution says.
suburbs, and you must think you some of them now.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Thank you, Matt Nuclear. I think that the lack of due process and the lack of search warrants is a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. I think that even with some...
And you're saying the Fourth Amendment applies whether you're a citizen or not?
Well, if you're going by the language of the Constitution's originalism, it says all persons. That's what the Bill of Rights says. So it doesn't say all
Man,
persons. You can have a different...
If a bitch single, it's a 1v20.
That even applies to non-citizens.
So when you look at the way that the government is
the world.
conducting itself, how are they supposed to know the citizenship status of people that they're breaking into?
That's just a 1v1.
That's what these judges have ruled as lack of due process and lack of probable cause.
Sure.
Because if you don't know the citizenship status and you're going off of racial profiling or you're going off of hearsay, that is not a justified justification or a rational justification for them to be supporting those people.
Well, I certainly believe that.
Man, y'all need to chill the fuck out with all them buttons.
Cause I'm sick and tired of the buzzers. Okay, this ain't no real game show. It is an intellectual debate circuit. Okay? Y'all can quit that little childish ass. We trying to establish
Neat clothes that work hard all day. King sizes is breathable fabrics that stretch and move. With waists up to 72 inches and performance features that keep up.
Cause y'all starting to sound like some
based on real bodies with quality
with your cognitive dissonance
that makes
and
sense.
your absurd preposterous ignorance. Talk about something. Fuck up. Slavery. Ain't nobody give a fuck about no slavery. We talk about Brown versus Board of Education.
Alright. So Dominique, I see that you pushed your button. Very unsure about it. What claim?
I'm also talking to my
We're allowed to talk.
Before you press the button.
Which fact would you like to that ICE is violating due process by using metrics such as someone's ethnicity as a marker for
That wasn't the claim. I said ICE violating people's due process by not having probable cause or even knowing the citizenship status of certain homes that they enter is a violation. That's what judges have had. Before you tell Dominique what she's supposed to say, that is what I said.
Did you or did you not, though, say that...
Wait, is this Dominique's fact check or is
they needed warrants?
Real quick, whose fact check is it?
You guys have talked the entire time too, so don't take condescending.
Before you press the button.
Alright, Mason, you said that ICE violated due process by not knowing citizenship status of people before detainment or entering their homes.
Prerequisite.
Fact checkers have checked, and they say that this is true. This claim is largely accurate and well supported by numerous court rulings.
You need probable cause.
I cannot believe that right there. Because I've read that and that's just totally...
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. They don't need search warrants.
Professional
And
fact checkers.
checking citizenship is not a prerequisite.
Daily Wire fact checkers.
Alright, it looks like none of the liberals have pushed their button. Are you guys afraid? What's going on here?
We believe in intellectual diversity.
They haven't made very many empirical claims.
Afraid.
Okay, well, Dominique, we're going to start with you. And the time starts now.
So I think it's interesting. I don't think it's wrong, but it kind of flips the argumentation on its head by saying conservatives violate constitutional rights versus protecting those constitutional rights. So the question is who protects it better, not who violates it.
Okay, so how do the Republicans protect free speech or gun laws better?
I'd say like in Florida, for example, there's less regulations, so you have constitutional carry. You don't have to go through a lot of red tape. So I would say.
So are you saying that blue states don't have constitutional carry?
Well, California, I don't believe has constitutional open.
All right, Hunter, I see that you pushed your button. Please let us know which claim you want to be fact-checked.
Specifically, that California does not have constitutional carry.
All right.
Also, I should note on the open carry thing, there was a recent court ruling that said that those laws don't stand either, so that's its own thing.
We were talking about gun regulations, so I was talking about constitutional carry,
which California has.
All right, Dominique, you claim that California does not have constitutional carry laws. Fact checkers have come to a verdict, and that is true. California residents are required to have a permit to carry any firearm within state limits.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, that means Mason, you're out of this round. Head back to the podium. All right, the current score is 8-6, with liberals still in the lead, but conservatives are catching up. The time is up for this prompt, so we're gonna have to move on to the next debate. All right, now it's time for the final sudden death debate. The team in the lead will choose the final prompt. So, liberals, here are your options. Number 1, whose immigration policies are more effective, Democrats or Republicans? Number 2, whose presidential record is better, Joe Biden's or Donald Trump's? And number 3, has the best U.S. president of the 21st century been a Democrat or a Republican? So, liberals, which prompt will it be?
So, do you want to do Trump? So, that's what I was thinking. No, Biden and Trump. It's specifically which presidential record is better, Joe Biden or Donald Trump's.
I think they're probably going to go with that. I think they're probably going to go with that. If that's the case, let me just take it. Yeah, because I'll take it with foreign policy.
They're going to pick Matt, for sure. What do you think he's going to talk about?
I'm even second this for Matt.
Really?
All right, liberals, have you chosen your prompt?
Yes. Our prompt is, whose presidential record is better, Joseph or Biden or Donald Trump?
Oh, full name, Joseph. Okay. And each team now has to choose one final player for sudden death. So you guys can huddle up now and choose.
So Evan loves Joe Biden?
Yes. Evan is the wittiest liberal of them all.
That's like a game changer or something.
Damn it.
1, 2, 3.
Conservatives.
Please get that on.
Whoa!
Will the final debaters from each team please take a seat? We got Evan, we got Matt. It's going to be a good showdown. Here's how sudden death works. Each of you will get 1 uninterrupted minute to make your opening argument. After both openings, I'll place the checkmate button between you, and the open debate begins. From that moment on, the first person to hit the button stops the debate and triggers the final fact check. Once that button is pressed, sudden death is over. If your challenge is correct, you win the round and earn your wager. If your challenge is wrong, you lose the round, forfeit your wager, and the other team gets the points. The team with the fewer points will speak first. Okay, I'll collect your wagers now. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh shit.
Our real-time payments accelerate liquidity and deliver funds instantly and securely across key markets in the U.S., Europe, Asia, and Latin America.
Awesome.
Y'all, I have some flavors of popcorners that I'm gonna try with y'all and see what I think about them. Let's do it. Try sea salt first. The white cheddar, y'all, definitely my favorite flavor. We got kettle corn. White cheddar is my number 1. The texture is so airy. It's the texture and the flavor together.
All right, we're going to start with Matt, and your time starts now.
All right, so I think that we're gonna have to specify this conversation a little bit more when we're talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So we're gonna probably have like an area of specificity. We're really discussing policy and who did better. So I'm gonna start off with talking about foreign policy. So in reference to Trump, he obviously took out Maduro, brought him to America, made the government there subsequent, obsequious with DC Rodriguez that is essentially now more open to investment, more open to freeing up Venezuela, et cetera, in reference to the short-term conflict that existed, for example, basically like a blitz conflict that existed between Pakistan and India, where things could have really escalated. Pakistan nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Furthermore, when it comes to something very important is rare earth minerals. In reference to Rwanda and the DRC, obviously Trump was able to get a short-term ceasefire between them and also get some concessions when it comes to rare earth minerals. When it comes to the conflict between Cambodia and Thailand, Trump was also able to get them to stop fighting with threat of sanctions, and also received, I believe, a Nobel Peace Prize from specifically Cambodia, but I may be wrong on whether or not it's Cambodia or Thailand. We saw the Abraham Accords happen.
All right. Time is up.
Sure.
Now, Evan, it's time for your 1 uninterrupted minute. Your time starts now.
Great, so I'm glad that you brought up foreign policy because you're leaving out a pretty critical foreign policy decision by the Trump administration, and that was to engage in a war of choice and a war of aggression on Iran that got 13 U.S. servicemen killed. So Donald Trump, through a decision, not a decision that he had to make, but a deliberate decision, a decision that he was actually talked into by people like BP Netanyahu, the head of Mossad, on earlier this year, I think it was in February in the White House conference room, made that choice, got 13 U.S. servicemen killed over 1,600 Iranian civilians, and then also has created now inflation with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is something that you would expect to happen when starting a war with Iran. Now inflation outpaces wage growth, and the inflation is global, so the global catastrophic consequences, according to organizations such as the World Food Program, is going to create millions of more people to be in sort of insecure.
All right, so pause it here. Your time is up. All right, now I'm going to put the checkmate button in between you guys. Remember, this button can only be pressed once, so make sure you're ready. No pressure. All right, sudden death begins. We're going to start with Matt, and your time starts now.
Thanks. So you mentioned like a war choice. I think the majority of conflicts in America obviously are war choice. I think that when we engage in foreign policy or in foreign conflict, it's always of choice. The question really is about whether it's something necessary, something of presidents, or for the good of the country. Hold on, I was going to say something else. You tried to imply that like, well, he got 13 U.S. members killed. That's like me saying that, for example, FDR got hundreds of thousands of Americans killed, right? Or Truman got hundreds of thousands of Americans killed. I don't think that presidents go into war to get Americans killed. I think that presidents go into war to try to complete a geopolitical objective that they believe is moral and just.
Okay, so I want to circle back. Do you agree though that war should be a last resort?
I believe that. Yes, I think generally speaking, war should. We should try to do it.
What is the objective of this war?
Well, the objective of this war obviously has been to be the depletion of the Iranian government's missile stockpile, their naval stockpile.
Do you believe that they've gotten rid of most of their missile stockpile?
No, that was my claim. My claim was that there was a depletion. And for example, I want to go on to answer
how much of a depletion?
I want to go on to answer some of your.
Well, I'm asking you. You said
if we don't start
in furtherance of that, we've also
nuking them Israeli, Iranian, Gaza,
nuclear capacities to a certain
we
extent.
need to go back to Afghanistan and nuke them.
You said
turn the desert to glass.
That you agreed with me that war should be a last resort to achieve objectives.
Telling bitches they ain't allowed to pray.
One of the objectives you laid out is degrading Iran's nuclear enrichment capabilities.
She can't pray.
Wrong.
Okay, so
I said like
only
nuclear capacity. There's
nuclear capacity.
By destroying the facilities.
Right, but you would agree though that their nuclear capabilities were degraded prior to the JCPOA relative to.
I thought y'all love God.
They enriched to 60% enrichment, which is closer to weapons grade uranium. After Donald Trump pulled out of the JCPOA, and that would be a form of multilateral negotiations. In other words, diplomacy worked in limiting their nuclear enrichment more so than just pulling out of the JCPOA and engaging in hard sanctions.
So
you would agree though that's
my argument that I gave was that it was multifaceted. We didn't go into this war to complete one objective. For example,
they gonna give us that Strait of Hormuz.
That the reason why we're going in now actually is because the missile stockpiles of ours in the Middle East, and that if we were to go in
if they blow up another ship,
Lots.
In that straight up
Hold
hormone.
on. I let you go on for a second. I let you go on for a second. Calm down. I let you go on for a second. I let you go on for a second. I let you go on for a second. Please let me
Go on now.
right? And so that is one of the issue that a lot of like anti-JCPOA people bring up is like one thing, which is nuclear weapons. I get that that's the biggest fear factor. That's the biggest thing mentioned by Iran. But Iran is a multifaceted, sophisticated threat. Not just nuclear weapons. The following proxy groups in obviously
Israel.
Yemen. In Gaza.
I mean, I'm good friends with BB
all of these
Netanyahu,
different
actually.
groups create different
He was
effects
at my
and different
slumber
wars
party when I was
that
12
cost
years
different
old.
countries' expenditures. The Yemeni Civil War, for
When I was
example,
born,
killed thousands upon
Laura
thousands of people in
Bush
2011, and that was heightened by
and
Iran's
George
support
Bush
for
came
Iran.
to my hospital
and yet this war
and held
got
me
zero concessions
and offered my
for,
parents
missile capabilities and zero
$100 billion dollars
You don't need concessions.
for that they could have my soul.
You can just no longer war is a last resort. We just ought to bomb them, right?
Right. So
killing 1,600 Iranian civilians, starting this war that has led to inflation now, outpacing wage growth, inflation that has led to millions of more people in the global south being affected by acute food insecurity. Yeah, those are all things.
Quick question.
Yeah, and you've engaged in all of those things, and you haven't even achieved two of the objectives that you just laid out. And the third objective, when it came to nuclear capabilities, that was achieved more so through diplomacy than it was through war. I would
just quick question.
Here
You mentioned the 1,600 civilians. Just a rhetorical question. I don't want to go on a tangent on it. But you care about the lives of 1,600 civilians, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened between, for example, late December to early January, going through January?
If they don't start letting those bitches pray in Afghanistan,
how many people said
we are gonna turn the desert into glass.
Also, a lot more. So why did you mention those tens of thousands?
Because we're talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
You care about the civilians, though, right?
I'm sorry, I'm not comparing the record of Ayatollah Khamenei versus.
Why not?
Free my nigga Luigi Mangione, kill his
So because we're debating the prompt, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
Who mentioned civilians being killed?
So Donald Trump.
Care about that?
Yeah. So Joe Biden did not make a decision. They got 13 U.S. servicemen killed, 1,600 additional.
How many?
If you think it's so horrific for tens of thousands of Iranian civilians to be massacred by their government, why don't you think it's horrific when thousands of or hundreds of Iranian civilians are killed by the United States military? Do you think it was horrific when a U.S. Tomahawk missile struck a girls' school in Iran and Donald Trump can't even admit fault for that? He attempted to suggest that the U.S. Tomahawk missile might have been from one of our adversaries.
Right, so I respond to that. Yeah, so during war, there's something called civilian casualties during conflict.
Oh my God.
And so in every single war, laugh it off.
Yeah, and during
let me respond, please. Appreciate it. Well, I think there's a difference between, like, for example,
bottom
at least you got it right, Manab, Iran, specifically a coastal city in Iran.
And I'm not
that
making
school was
a
right next to what?
to homosexuality.
So right next to a naval base, and it was actually on Saturday.
Imagine I just upload this video unedited and shit. All this retarded ass fucking Jubilee in the background and fucking whatever the fuck I've been saying this whole time.
Because I think that we were talking about
I bet you won't. I bet you I fucking will.
So we're talking about civilians dying during conflict. An important thing that we should focus on is the intent. Is the government that is actually conducting these airstrikes trying to mitigate civilian harm, or are they being negligent? So the factors were not only that it was obviously right next to a naval base, and on top of that, you're interrupting me again, right? It was also on a Saturday, so there's also like cultural factors on whether or not on why they would think that there probably isn't a school day, right? Because in America we typically don't have school days on Saturdays, right?
Would you agree? Wait, so the negligence of these people not knowing whether or not there's children in a school in Iran on a Saturday?
Wars aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Name a single war without accidental civilian casualties.
Yeah, well, that,
for example,
this is why, circling back, why war has to be a last resort, and you can't even demonstrate that the United States has achieved any of its war objectives. So
I have actually depletion of the missile stockpile.
How much of the missile?
I'm not going to put a number.
Yeah, exactly. So if one missile was depleted, is that considered a depletion?
So can I respond?
If one missile was depleted,
can I respond?
How many? Give me an estimate. Give me a percentage estimate.
If I give you a percentage, will you estimate it? Estimates over 50%.
Okay.
Fact check it.
Evan, so I see that you pushed the button and sudden death. So this is serious. All right, what claim would you like to fact check?
U.S. classified intel reports, as reported by the New York Times,
No, just say like you're
suggest that 70%
What's
of
the
Iran's
claim,
missile.
though?
My claim was that Iran's missile stockpile has been depleted. Hold on. By more, I specifically said more than 50%.
Good. Okay.
Boom. That's it.
Okay. Mine is that they
Fuck you and your
maintain 70% of their missile stockpile, as reported by the New York Times, according to a classified.
Except for my foot up your
we'll see.
ass.
Yep. And that's according to
Okay, we'll see. Let them
I'm just giving them where they can look to find the information.
They're the fact checkers. That's their job.
I put about
Your job,
50%
like,
my foot up your ass.
Would you want them? I'd rather them be correct, personally.
The New York Times.
I couldn't stand liberal
Well, it's classified FBI.
or
You have to
conservative.
look at right classified.
As a matter of
Right now,
fact, the
during our
majority
sudden
of
death
Americans
debate, you claim that Iran's
fail
missile
to
stockpile
apply
has
their
increased
critical
more than
thinking
50% since the start of the war. Our fact checkers have checked
and they
come to a verdict.
they've ceased to do their due diligence. How could the first world have fallen so far
Reports
from
state Iran's
grace?
missile stockpile
I tell
has
you what,
increased by at best
we
50%
are
since
following the
start of war.
same
Other
path
estimates put it much
as
lower.
Tartaria, Babylon,
That's like
as
are we gonna end it on
as
The debate is
Atlantis,
over. The facts
as
have been
Greece,
checked. The
as
final score
Rome.
is in. Before sudden death, the score was 8-6, with liberals in the lead.
Now, there ain't gonna be
The
no
liberals
more
waged
tomorrow
all 300
America
points on the
in
sudden
a couple
death
of
prompt.
years.
And the conservatives wagered
Whether
3 points. Since the
the
liberals won
tension
the final
and civil
score,
distress
it's now 16-3.
is being spurred on
Congratulations
by
to
the
liberals.
government
You are today's checkmate
or
champions.
your own
Volunteers,
benign
thank you for debating,
ignorance.
defending your facts,
I
and
tell you
putting
what,
your claims
I'm
to the
moving
test.
to
I'm Harris
Guatemala.
Rose, and until next time, check your
I'm
facts or
moving
get
to
checked.
fucking
Thanks for
Guatemala.
watching. Congrats.
Hey, listen, how about you fact check this dick in your mouth?
Good
You
job.
fuck, bitch.
What are you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Tinder Music Mode Hotline, where we match your vibe. I might be able to find you a match. Maybe. Oh, Tinder Music Mode helps you connect with people who share your music taste. Another day, another match. Thank you very much. Music Mode out. I love the show.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Introducing Mike's Lemon. 3 unique characters, 1 unmatched flavor.
God damn it. Is the Odyssey any good? Charlie asked pretentiously, like it don't got Matt Damon, Tom Holland, fucking all type of goddamn A-list actors.
Wes, I'm fully in the loop. Are you in the loop right now? I've been home for 2 days, 3 days. So you just completely full internet for 2 days.
I
What's
really-
going on with the internet?
I really can't stand the Shane Gillis character. And I definitely haven't watched every episode, all 730 episodes of MSSP and the Patreon
But that's not all. There's plenty of other
I sure haven't.
people getting
And I
called that
hate
going
to
around.
see him as a
MGK
guest
is a new
on that
music
Kill
video that
Tony.
sucks. Fucking made me want to.
And I'm glad he
bring him
lost
down to
his
school.
job as carrying on.
What else is going on?
Hey.
That'd be a good.
I hear
you know that
you,
Ronnie
football
Dangerfield thing where he
boys.
goes back to college as like a senior as a shooter.
Listen here,
bet on me.
he ain't footballing shit. Set my foot up his ass.
He's not getting enough respect from the bully.